Good afternoon, everyone. Today, our study is bringing heritage back to life using folktales to motivate children to learn Sentani language. I'm Wigati Yaktining Tias and my partner James Modo from Universitas Cendrawasih. Here the map of language in Papua and West Papua. There are about 300 local languages in Papua and West Papua based on Badan Bahasa. They are labeled with endangered, dying, and lost. Sentani language is labeled with endangered. There are three dialects in Sentani language: Eastern, Central, and Western dialects. Sentani tribes lives in the edge and islands of Sentani Lake, Jayapura. Children do not speak the language anymore. Only some children in the remote islands of Sentani Lake can speak the language passively. That's why preservation is needed to avoid the language loss. Language loss means the loss of the whole life of Sentani people, the philosophy, the theology, and social culture. Here, in the study, children is the priority because they are the future generation of Sentani. Sentani is rich with folk tales, myth, legend, and fables. And fortunately, children like listening to folk tales. The objective of the study is how to motivate Sentani children to learn their local language using folk tales. The method, the research was conducted in Sentani, East Sentani in Yokiwa and Aceh Island, Central Sentani in Hobong between June and July 2022, while folk tales were collected from the informants, tribal chiefs, Sentani elders between January to May 2022. Children involved in this study are those who are 5 to 8 years old. Those are in childhood education and primary school. Let's talk a bit about Sentani language. Sentani language is non-Austronesian, and sometimes it's a bit hard for the children to learn the Sentani language because of the different sentence structure. Sentani use subject, object, and predicate. Not like in Bahasa Indonesia, they have subject, predicate, and object. There are also tenses, subject influencing the verbs. The language is in postposition and not preposition. So, for Sentani children who are already familiar with Indonesian language, the structure of the Sentani language, subject, object, predicate, tenses, pronunciation give them difficulties as well as challenges. Therefore, they need to be continuously motivated so they can learn the language of their ancestors as the identity. This is the example of sentence structure that make Sentani children feeling difficult to learn the language. So the sentence of S, O, V. For example, here in English we have I, subject, it, verb, say, go, object. But in Sentani, that time to say re as a subject, fi, anale. And if the subject changes, she or he eats rice, neye melasa aneye. You see, so anale changes into anaye. And if you are eating sego, the subject changes. Okay, so weye fi na aneye changes again. And if she or he has eaten sego, in Sentani language they say neye fi anakote. So changes again. We eat sego, Aye Fi Anande, Anakoke changes into Anande. It's a bit complicated for the children to learn. And this is the tenses. This is only the example of first person singular. I eat segel into reye fi anale. I usually eat segel as habitual reye fi anamiala. I ate segel reye fi anamokale, and so on. So this study actually wants to see how we can, how the study can motivate the children to learn their language by using the folk tales, because fortunately they like folk tales. Okay, let's go to what we are having here. In the discussion, teaching learning process was focused on folktale telling. So that's the first thing we did, is telling the folktales. And while we were telling the folktales, we asked them to pay attention and write down the vocabulary. And then finally, we asked them to spell and then to pronounce. After that, we asked them to read the books, the storytelling books. And it's very interesting, because after reading the books, they found vowels and consonants were different from vowels and consonants in Indonesian language, such as nangge means female, or yebuku, because in Bahasa Indonesia we don't have vowel a. And then also some sentence structure that they thought they were reversed, such as reye fi anako, sego 8, and they also found tenses. Okay, so they also asked why there is tenses in the Sentani language, and it really confused them. This study started from the difficulties found by the children: pronunciation, vocabulary, verb changes, tenses, phrase, simple sentences orally. We keep practicing this 1 month in June 2022 in Sentani, and another 1 month in July 2022 in Central Sentani. This is very interesting, because from this study we can see that the children showed the progress in speaking Sentani language, even in simple. We can conclude here that children were very happy with folk tales. They like listening and reading Sentani folk tales. From the folk tales, children can learn pronunciation, vocabulary, sentence structure, tenses, and adposition. The study also recommends that parents, elders, speak Sentani at home or community to make the children get used to listening to the pronunciation and sentence structure. Hopefully, this can motivate them to speak the language confidently. And the dream is this can avoid Sentani language from extinction. Thank you very much everyone for the attention. God bless you.